Good morning, children. Today we are going to carry on looking at the instructional text, and specifically we are going to be looking at the use of adverbs in instructions. So let's remind ourselves about verbs and adverbs first. Can you tell me what sort of words are verbs? Verbs. That's right, they are action words. They are action words. So we know that a verb is an action word, such as jumping or run. And yesterday we learned about a very special group of verbs. What are they called? Very good, imperative verbs. We learned about imperative verbs, which we also can sometimes call the bossy verbs. And what type of sentences do we use the imperative verbs in? Do we use them in questions or in statements? No, we use them in commands. Very good, children. Well done. So we know that verb is an action word, and we can also have imperative verbs, which are the bossy verbs and tell us what we should do. Now, we also learned before that an adverb describes the verb and usually ends with the suffix ly. So, for example, we could have a sentence saying, right, let's see if this is going to work. He was running slowly, where we have the running, which is the verb, and then slowly, which is the adverb, because it tells us how somebody is running. It describes the verb. Now, in a good set of instructions, we would not only have imperative verbs, we would also have adverbs to help us to follow the instructions better. So let's have a look at a set of instructions, which I have ready here for you. Now, let's have a look at it. Children, you could tell me straight away what is missing from this set of instructions. What should go right here on the top? That's right, a title. I wouldn't know just by looking at this text what it is, would I? But I need a title in my set of instructions. So my title would be How to Cook Spaghetti Bolognese. Oh, one of my favorite dishes. How to cook spaghetti bolognese. We know that every single set of instructions must have a title. It should also have the list of things that we need, or if it's a recipe, the ingredients. And then we also must have the method, or this is telling us that the steps of how to create something. So in this instance, it's the method. Children, do you think these set of instructions are perfect? Do you think we could add some things to it? Do you think we could have written an introduction and a top tip? Absolutely. But this is by no means perfect set of instructions, but it's a very good set of instructions for looking at adverbs. Now let's have a look, children. Can you tell me which part of the instructions would we find all the imperative verbs in? Would we find all the imperative verbs in the ingredients or the method? That's right, we would find all the imperative verbs in the method part of the instructions. Well done. So now let's have a look at the method, and let's have a look. Can we identify the verbs, the imperative or the bossy verbs? So we have 10 steps in the instructions. Let's have a look at step number 1. Carefully bring a large pan of water to a rapid boil. Where is the verb in that sentence? What is the action that I must do? That's right, I must bring. Very good. So that is my verb, bring. Well done. Now, children, this is the really easy bit. Because if I find my verb in a sentence, and I know that an adverb is the word which usually ends in ly and describes the verb, like we've said here. Adverb describes the verb and usually ends with the suffix ly. That can really help me to spot my adverb straight away. Can you spot the adverb in the step number 1? Very good. Carefully. That's right. So we have the adverb carefully describing the verb bring. And because we've spotted the verb, we could spot the adverb so much easily. So the verb bring is described by the adverb carefully. Let's have a look at step number 2. Can you spot the verb in that sentence? The imperative verb. Slowly drop the spaghetti into the water. Where is the verb? The imperative verb which tells us what we must do. Drop. Very good. So that is our verb, drop. And now, children, that we found a verb, can you spot the adverb, the word which describes the verb and ends with the suffix ly? Very good. There it is. Slowly. So I know that the adverb slowly describes the verb drop. It tells me to slowly drop the spaghetti into the water. Now, in both of these instances, we had the adverb right in front of the verb. And that's where we usually find it. We find the adverb right in front of the verb. However, let's have a look at the step number 3. Boil the spaghetti rapidly for 10 to 12 minutes. Can you first spot the verb, the imperative verb in that sentence? The word which tells us what we must do. That's right, boil. Boil is the imperative verb right at the very beginning of the command. But where could we find the adverb in this sentence? Certainly isn't one in front of the verb. So do we have an adverb that describes the verb boil? Yes, we do. Well spotted, children. We have the adverb rapidly. So sometimes we can find the adverb right in front of the verb, and sometimes we can find it after the verb, such as in this instance. Let's do one more together. Heat the oil gradually in a medium pan. Can we spot the verb in this sentence? Very good, well done. We spotted the verb, heat, well done. And where is the adverb in that sentence, describing the verb heat? Have you spotted it? Where is the adverb in this sentence? Gradually. Very good. Well done. Well done. Now, if my highlighter was working properly, I would, of course, highlight the whole word. It's having a little bit of a strike at the moment. It's gone on strike. Now, children, at home, have a go at identifying the verbs and the adverbs in the rest of these instructions. It's going to be a really good practice for you. Remember, a good set of instructions has imperative verbs and it has adverbs which describe those imperative verbs. Once you have done this and you have identified the verbs and the adverbs in this set of instructions, in your pack you can find differentiated tasks which are going to help you practice identifying and using adverbs in your own writing. If you can't find them in a pack, they are going to be attached to the tapestry post. The easiest task is the one with the red learning intention, in which you have a reminder that adverbs describe the verbs and usually end in ly, and your task is to circle the verbs and underline the adverbs in these sentences. And then use the underlined words in your own sentences, remembering the capital letters, finger spaces, and full stops. The next difficulty of the task is to match up the verbs with the appropriate adverbs. So because we know that the adverbs describe the verbs, we need to match them up into pairs and then make up a sentence containing both words, both the verb and the adverb. Now the challenge for you is to make sure that you have a sentence which also has conjunction in it. So not just a simple sentence, but a sentence with a conjunction in it. Now, the next difficulty of task is just slightly more tricky, where you have a bigger list of verbs and some trickier adverbs. But again, you need to match them up into appropriate pairs and then write a sentence for each of the pair. And finally, the trickiest task. Here you have a list of 3 different types of adverbs. The adverbs of movement, the adverbs of feelings, and the adverbs that describe sound. Now, your task is to use these adverbs in a sentence with a powerful verb. So you haven't been given a verb, you need to think of a powerful verb and then write a sentence which contains these adverbs matched up with powerful verbs and a sentence which has a conjunction in it. Now, children, all of these tasks should be in your packet, but again, if they are not, then they will be attached to the tapestry post. So today, children, we are learning all about the adverbs which describe the verbs. Well, we are very much looking forward to seeing all your work on tapestry. Bye for now.